Hey everyone! Today I'll be discussing the Stormcast Eternals, which are personally one of my favourite factions in the lore. The Stormcast Eternals are the God King Sigmar's ultimate weapon against the forces of chaos and destruction that threaten to plunge the mortal realms once again into an age of chaos. The Stormcast are an army born of thunder, and on bolts of etheric energy they manifest onto the battlefield, blinding foes and crushing those unfortunate enough to be close enough. Sigmar has created a host of warriors with differing capabilities, from those gifted with incredible leadership to those that have such a knowledge of the arcane that can use this power to unleash spells. Should one of these warriors fall in battle, they are taken back by Sigmar and reforged anew to continue fighting. Not only men and women fight for the God King, mythical creatures such as the Dragoneth and the Gryph-hounds have joined his army. With this small introduction to the Stormcast, let's try and understand their creator Sigmar, his warriors, and what caused such a creation to become a requirement. The first age that has been recorded within the mortal realms came to be known as the Age of Myth. This was a time before legend, which began with the Draconeth Empire. This was a dynasty that spanned the realms, led by wise, noble and fierce drakes. These were the times of glory for the Draconeth, their golden age in which they controlled the realms. Their empire was to last the ages until the harbinger of destruction Kragnos came. His rampage laid the once mighty kingdom low. The twin leaders of the dynasty, known as Krondus and Karazai, seek a solution for their desperate situation, and turn to the newly found Slann of the Seraphon that have journeyed to the mortal realms. Both sides understood that Kragnos must be stopped to regain order and stability within the realms, and so a deal was struck. The Seraphon would ensure the continuation of the Draconeth species, guarding their egg clusters in return for the two Draconeth leaders' assistance in entrapping the Earthquake God within the Twin Horn Peaks, located in the heart of the realm of Gur. Battle was joined in the heart of the realm, with the battle lasting days, and even with the combined might of the Draconeth and Seraphon barely managing to contain the raging beast, with Karazai being horrendously scarred from the encounter. After the battle was finished and Kragnos had been locked away within the peaks, the twin Draconeth chose to seek out individual isolation rather than return to their kingdom. As agreed, the Seraphon stored the massive egg clusters within their golden temple vessels that travelled space, or buried them deep within their gleaming temple cities. These eggs sat atop powerful ley lines that channel etheric power through the realm. The realms once again settled into a period of relative peace, however signalling the decline of the once glorious Draconeth Empire. As hundreds of years pass, the God King Sigmar is found floating within the aetheric void by the Dragon Lord Dracothian, and was taken to the mortal realms where he marvelled in their wonders. Dracothian and Sigmar travelled the realms far and wide, and during this battled many of the primordial god beasts of the mortal realms, such as the grandfather of Gargants, Yinmog. The pair would find tribes of murderous mortals that cling to life within the realms, and for the first time within the realms, the seeds of mortal civilization are sown. Over the course of his travels, Sigmar meets many of his fellow gods, which hailed from the once destroyed world that was. The God King enters discussions with these beings and convinces them to come together to create the Pantheon of Order, existing within the realm of Asia. The gods bring their creations together, working in harmony, and for a time, peace reigned. Under Sigmar's ultimate leadership, the Pantheon guides the people of the realms to thrive. For the first time, art, culture, trade and knowledge spreads across the realm, as civilizations work together to achieve harmony and the best outcomes for all. Such a feat is hard to wrap one's head around, Sigmar even convincing the twin-headed god of destruction Gorkamorka to join the Pantheon of Order. During this time, Sigmar creates his Storm Vaults. These are holds filled with potent treasures and artifacts that are later hidden within plain sight with the use of mysterious magics of the penumbral engines. As time passes, the first cracks begin to appear within the Pantheon that Sigmar forged. The elven gods become preoccupied with their own creation, and their grand plans to save them from their plight, whilst the Uruk god Gorkamorka begins his rampage across the realms with his forces of destruction. The god enraged by the prolonged period of peace that has taken the realms, and leads the biggest war to be ever recorded. It is during this time that the poison of chaos finds its way within the Pantheon, and into the mortals of the realms. Whispers emerge from the realm of chaos and begin to darken mortal hearts, with preparations being made for the day that the realms will burn. The gods seemingly remained blind to the sins of mortal kind, as they failed to intervene with the early signs that corruption had spread. This allows evil to fester, until it reaches a fever pitch within the realms. So rife was the darkness that the boundary between realms split asunder, with realms forming in these locations. From these rifts, armies of demons and corrupted creatures emerge, born of the raw emotions humanity struggled to contain. Their lust for violence, bloodshed and ruin sets the course of a downward spiral into a new age, one that came to be known as the Age of Chaos. Despite the best attempts of the now divided Pantheon of Order, the demon legions spill across the realms, slaughtering all that stand within their path. As their attempts to withstand the onslaught diminish under the weight and ferocity of the assault, one by one, the empire of the Order gods begin to fall. In a battle that is now legend within the Age of Chaos, Sigmar alongside the 12 tribes of Bellicose stood upon the fire plains of Akshai, and let the waves of chaos crash against them. As the battle rages, the God King launches a series of devastating charges into the Chaos forces, with each charge crushing a wave of demons underfoot. This charge and regroup lasts several times until the 8th, in which Sigmar was tricked. Archaon, the ever-chosen and favoured of the Dark Gods, conjured an illusion of himself, tricking the God King to hurl his legendary Warhammer Galmaraz at it, and into a waiting rift in reality. Without his great weapon, Sigmar and the bellicose tribes retreat, as the laughter of the Dark Gods ring in their ears. As the retreat is complete, the God King is forced to seal the gates of the realm of Azir, his home realm, saving as many as he can before the gates are finally shut, condemning millions to death as they plead to be granted access. It was from the depths of this despair and darkness that inspiration struck Sigmar. With newly found allies Grungi, the dwarven smith god, and Dracothian, Sigmar begins to work on his greatest weapon yet, an army capable of retaking the realms. Across the realms, battle rages within the last bastions of humanity that desperately try to hold on. As the warrior's death blow is about to be dealt, their souls are snatched away moments before this. These are the warriors and heroes that will be reforged into the newly created Stormcast Eternals. As the Chaos Gods tighten their grip of the realms, Sigmar's new weapons prepare themselves. Massive battles are held within the Gladiatorium, allowing the Stormcast to hone and test their skills against one another. All the while, Sigmar encourages his warriors to cleanse the realms of Azir of the native beastmen and greenskin forces. It is the Stormcast's first blood. They set out across the realms, slaughtering the beasts in their hundreds, with the legendary figure Bastion Carthalos being named the first Lord Commander. Bastion is giving the rank, after breaking the impenetrable fortress of Thar Sorgora, held by the vile dragon ogres. Some Stormcasts begin to doubt whether they will be enough to retake the realms. Silently, and unknown to all, the flaws of reforging are noticed by Sigmar. Its horrifying reality begins to take form as the God King works towards a solution. With this, his new army is poised to strike, and we enter the Age of Sigmar. Finally, after amassing his forces and refining their skills, the God King can sit idle no longer. Thunderclouds roll across the mortal realms with such intensity that hasn't been seen before in the history of the realms. With each crash, the Stormcast Eternals materialize onto the battlefield, catching the forces of Chaos off guard on hundreds of differing war fronts, with the first blow landing on the Akshai and Brimstone Peninsula. There, the Hammerhand's chamber of the Hammers of Sigmar first meet the Khornite hordes known as the Gore-Tide. The Hallowed Knights were sent to Gur, and found themselves in a plagued hellscape. However, the silver-clad warriors ultimately proved successful in their mission to locate the goddess of life, Alariel. This came at the cost of Lord Celestant Gardas Steelsoul being temporarily trapped within the Nurgle Garden. Within the Akshayan kingdom known as Klaxus, a dark ritual is completed and becomes the site of a terrible dark void to be opened, from which demons pour freely from within. The beasts begin to gather and seek to claim the lands in the name of their vile gods. Sigmar attempts to stem the constant flow of terrors, hurling numerous bolts across the sky, giving form to various Stormcast chambers. In a battle that would last days, and in which Stormcast would be required to be instantaneously reforged before sent back into the fight, they would barely manage to hold their swelling numbers. Eventually, the rift would collapse in on itself, its unstable corruptive powers unsustainable. As the Stormcast finally slaughtered the last of the foul terrors, their ability to challenge the demon was solidified. The Heldenhammer Crusade, led by the Thostus Bladestorm, finally discovers the location of Sigmar's legendary weapon Galmaraz, the Warhammer being captured by a foul sorcerer known as Efrix, within the Shaman's hanging valley of Anvok. The creature is so foul he is unable to touch the blessed weapon, and instead seeks to draw upon its immense power contained within. To achieve such a dreadful feat, he has built his fortress atop the Warhammer's resting place. Once knowledge of the weapon's location is fed back to Sigmar, a mighty crusade is gathered to recover it, with the Celestial Vindicators and Hammerhand Chambers uniting to achieve the goal. The battle raged, with the Stormcast battling through wave after wave of verminous Skaven and swaths of dead spirits. It was only after the unintentional betrayal within Chaos ranks that allows the gates of the Eldritch Fortress to be broken. Once the gates had been breached, the fortress quickly fell, and the artifact was presented to Sigmar by the successful Thostos. As the successful warriors of the Heldenhammer Crusade return to Asia, a 12-day feast is declared to celebrate the recovery of Sigmar's legendary weapon, and takes it into his depths of the Black Citadel. Here in the spell-warded vault, the weapon is placed into the frozen hand of the Celestant Prime. As the hammer touches the creature's fingers, lightning crashes through the heavens. The Celestant Prime rises to lead the Stormcast to victory. The wars against the forces of chaos rage across the realms. The Bullheart's chamber of the Hallowed Knights, alongside the majority of the Anvils of Heldenhammer, set out on a quest through the realm of Shyesh. Their goal is to make a treaty with the god of death, Nagash. The Lord Celestant, Tarsus Bullheart, manages to form a shaky treaty with the vampire lord, Manfred von Karstein. With it, the Stormcast proved to be a pivotal force in decimating the Slaneshi siege of the undead city of Nulmeria. However, the god of death once again shows that he is not to be trusted, and eventually betrays the Stormcast with an ambush that leaves the Stormcast slaughtered to the last, and Tarsus's soul captured by Manfred as a final insult. What comes to be known as the Realmgate Wars rage, and the balance of power continues to shift back and forth amongst the sides. The Chaos Champion Archeon attempts to bind numerous god beasts from the realms to his will. He wishes to use their combined might to smash the sealed realm gate of Asia. Sigmar is finally pushed to unleash the 12 great bolts via the Celestant Prime to slay the world titan Behemat. This act would earn the eternal hatred of his mega-gargant children. Eventually, the Stormcast armies would achieve several notable victories, sealing the archways to Giran and Akshai. The season of war flourishes within the realm of Gur, as the forces of order fight back the tide of foes seeking to establish new strongholds for humanity. The storm host known as the Hallowed Knights are seemingly spread amongst countless battlefronts, with their efforts being rewarded with the establishment of 3 cities which are declared to be the seeds of hope. These are the Greywater Fastness, the Living City, and the Phoenicium, each city being raised from the ground by humanity's labourers, with imposing stormkeeps also raised to garrison the warriors of lightning within. Since the dawn of the Red Century, the Black Bell of Lamentations has rang constantly within Asierheim, with each crash marking a new act of depravity and destruction by the Dark Powers. For a fleeting few hours the bell hangs silent, signalling the first sparks of justice re-entering the realms. However, the Dark Lords are forever scheming, and the desolation of Urk in the Shamans echoes through to the home grounds of the ironclad Uruks, which rage as news is delivered by their bloodthirster overlords. These so-called Bane Lords amass their crazed puppets into a legion seeking to assault the bastions of humanity. However, before this plan could come to fruition, Sigandil, the high star of Azure, blazes brightly in the heavens. With a clap of thunder, 3 extremist chambers of celestial vindicators descend from the skies. Their fury hastens their charge as they crash into the Uruk force, with the might of Sigmar's own hammer. As battle is joined, both Bloodthirster and Draconith are butchered. Summoned comets rain like hail across the battlefield, whilst blessed Sigmarite and cursed cruel axe meet. As the battle persists, the Uruk force begin to regain their sanity, and the grip of the Banelord loosens as they fall, and greenskins begin to lay into demon and stormcast alike. Across the realms, the free cities continue to rise, and the God King's warriors begin to ease into their newfound roles as stewards and guardians. However, the faults within their reforging take their toll, with few numbers left within the Stormkeeps to maintain order. Uprisings which do flare up amongst the cities are sometimes met with overwhelming force, leading to the butchering of civilians both innocent and guilty alike. News of these purges begins to spread, and whilst the Stormcast were once held solely within awe, some begin to fear them. As the wars continue to rage, a new tower is raised besides that which holds the Bell of Lamentations. The Spire of the Lost, the graven obelisk, is erected, and holds the names of every Stormcast warrior which met their final doom in the God King's service. Central to this stand two great statues devoted to Jaktos Goldenmane and Thostos Bladestorm, which both fell fighting the forces of chaos. With each passing day, names are added to this list. Vandus Hammerhand, a champion of Sigmar, begins to have deathly visions, which his lord takes note of. As increasingly morbid omens continue across the land, Sigmar dispatches his Lord Ordinators to attempt to discover the source of the energies. One of these, Vorus Starstrike, determines that a dire plan created by Nagash is coming to its conclusion. As the Stormcast march to confront the death god at Nagashazar, they must first overcome the Chaos Hordes led by Marak Bloodsky. The hatred for chaos proves overwhelming, and the Stormcast focus sees them fail to reach the dead city in time to prevent the ritual's completion. Although the plot did not go completely as intended, the Necroquake is unleashed across the realm, heralding in a new bleak era. Across the realms and within the free cities, the dead begin to rise, causing the Stormholds to defend humanity from an invading force, whilst predatory endless spells roam the landscapes and are increasingly lethal. Sigmar sends the Sacrosanct Chambers, those gifted within the mystical arts, to take the field to manage these dangers. However, without their presence to assist within the process of reforging, these flaws are seemingly exacerbated. As the impact of the Necroquake resounds across the realms, the spectral army of Mandeldrek besieges the Shyiashan city of Glimsforge. Mandeldrek sought to exploit the weakness of the city's wall the traitor had laid them into life. Knostus Heavensven, the former prince of the city and now reforged anew, leads his Sacrosanct Chamber in the repealment of the Nighthawk forces on the surface, whilst below the city, within the 10,000 tombs, the anvils of Heldenhammer struggle desperately to hold the line as Nagash captures fallen Stormcast spirits and turns them against the forces of order. The attack is only thwarted when Knosnus manages to banish Mandeldrek within a storm of electrical fire, before leading the Stormcast for a final charge, breaking the Nighthawk army. Similar stories spread across the realm of Shyiash as more and more land falls to the undead forces. Sigmar counter-offensive is planned. Sacrosanct Chambers from more than 50 storm hosts are called forth for their duties to reclaim the lost lands, and to search the lands of the dead for any means that might allow the flaws within reforging to be mended. What is now known as the Resurrection Crusade slowly begins to fragment, as Chambers pursue numberless leads, with a number being led to the vampire underworld of Karstenstinia. The effects of Nagash's ritual are felt within the realm of Azure, which sees wailing processions of spirits crossing the land. The effects of Nagash's ritual are felt even within the realm of Azure, which sees wailing processions of spirits crossing the land, causing the strongholds of order to be assaulted. The Stormcast once again stand to shield humanity. In their pursuit to continue protecting their charges, the Lord Veritants work tirelessly for this cause. They judge all mortals before them, and any which would deny their duty or display cowardice in the face of the enemy are marked with the God King's brand, a symbol so imbued with celestial energies that it could burn away corruption or disloyal thoughts. Through the Lord Veritant's duties, Azurheim once again becomes a safe haven for humanity. Lord Celestin Katian Tommen battles the Chaos tribes of the Dead Mask in the lands of Zintil. However, there is a greater internal conflict within Catian. The warlord of the Dread Mask is her son, possessed by a demon within the Age of Chaos. There is a lingering desire to attempt to save him from his possession. However, this rails against her duty as part of the storm host of the Knights Excelsior. Over 6 decades they meet 3 times, with Catian holding her hand at the last moment. On the 4th, with the effort of 3 Lord Exorcists, the demon is banished from Catian's son, with his soul finally being restored, only for him to be immediately cut down by his mother, having been reforged so many times she no longer remembers her son's face. Within Shyesh, the assaults from the legions of undead are ceaseless, with the newest of the legions of grief led by the Mortarch Lady Alinda. Her assault on Lethis is perhaps the biggest yet to be seen within the realms, and requires the Stormcast to call upon the Indaneth and Fireslayer allies, alongside 3 guild regiments of the Blackshore Guard. Numerous chambers from the Anvils of Heldenhammer, Soul Guard, Sempi Eternals, and Grave Brethren attempt to prevent the tide of undead that assault the stronghold. In the heat of the battle, the Fireslayers abandon the city, betraying the Stormcast over an unpaid sum of gold. Despite this, the city is still saved. However, the Mortarch's greater goal is achieved, when the Night Tomb which lays at the heart of the city is breached, and the soul of Catacross is released. Catacross being Nagash's greatest general. A force of Stormcast and Daughters of Cain launch an attack on the Varanthax Moor, in the 8 Point, seeking to sour Archean's ambitions. However, it appears that the Stormcast have been drawn into a trap, where they are left for dead by their Cainite allies. Worse still is when the Daughters annex the city of Anvilgard. The God King shakes with rage, with the effects being felt through Azirheim. Conflict is narrowly avoided when Marathi Cain and the Celestant Prime reach an impasse, with the goddess offering to avert the prophesied doom of another city in return for a ceasefire. Kragnos, the god of the earthquake, is freed from his weakened prison after battling his way free. He soon leads a colossal destruction horde against the city of Excelsis, seeking to wipe the civilization from Gur. Both the Knights Excelsior and the Astral Templars launch a ferocious attack, attempting to repel the horde. However, Excelsis is saved in the end through an unlikely partnership through Marathi Cain and the Slan known as Lord Croak, coming to the city's aid in its final hour. Kragnos is translocated away through the combined might of these 2 figures, while Krondis and Karazai sense the return of their oldest foe and begin to scour the realms. The pair negotiate with the Seraphon and recover those Dracothian descendants that they had been trusted to care for since the fall of the Draconith Empire. With the return of Kragnos, the cruel boys begin ancient prophecies have been fulfilled, and emerge from their swamps and bog to spread their malice across the realms. However, in this dark hour, a figure from a bygone age comes forth to bring a gift for the Stormcast forces. Grungi, the Great Maker, sealed himself within his great forge, and returned bearing the first suits of Thunderstrike armour. This is a potent new weapon that many Stormcasts swiftly strive to earn. With this new boon to his armies, Sigmar lays plans for the wars still to come, when Dracothian's roar rocks the realm of Azir. The glow of malice is temporarily darkened by the wings of a reptilian behemoth. At the head of the gathered descendants, the dragons Krondis and Karazai present themselves to the God King. Both sides quickly sense the other's loathing for the being known as Kragnos. After a weeks-long council, mediated by the Stardrakes, the Pact Draconis is formed, in which Stormcast and Dracothian unite, with the first of the Stormdrake Guard being formed. Dark rumours reach Yndrasta of malice spreading across the Gurish continent of Throndia, stoking the landscape into a frenzy which threatens to destroy the city of Excelsis. The Auric Lions, a chamber from the Hammers of Sigmar clad within their Thunderstrike armour, are charged by the Huntress in investigating this occurrence. At the strong point of Amberstone Watch, the Lions discover a potent swamp elixir brewed by the Cruel Boys, poisoning the ley lines of Gur. As the Lions attempt to hold back the tides of Uruks that assail them, they attempt to destroy the foul elixir. Defeat seems inevitable, until Yndrasta arrives with reinforcements, managing to chase off the Cruel Boys. However, their ultimate goal seems achieved, with enough of the elixir poisoning the arcane ley lines, transfiguring a large swath of Throndia into a seeping marshland. Undaunted, Yndrasta takes her place at the head of the Dawnbringer Crusade and purges 3 Kruleboy layers in quick succession. That's it for the Stormcast Eternals history. We really do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, give this a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe to the channel. Thanks!